Hello everyone, wanted to share a video devotional that's hopefully encouraging to you. We're going to look at just one verse, Psalms 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And that is just a fantastic verse. Each and every day, as our head pops off the pillow, we can be thankful. We can rejoice in the fact that that day is a gift from God. Every day is a gift from God. And every day there are good things happening, good things that God is doing, blessings that we enjoy. And we can rejoice in those things. We can be glad in those things. But I want us to consider also the context of Psalms 118:24. Because Psalms chapter 118 is just a fantastic chapter. I'd encourage you to read the entire chapter. And it's a chapter that really focuses on the love of God and that focuses on the deliverance and the salvation that God provides for his people. And it's a psalm that was often sung and quoted by the nation of Israel during special festivals that were a time of remembrance and a time of celebrating God's deliverance of his people. And if you look at the surrounding verses around verse 24, some of them really stand out and sound familiar. For instance, verse 26 says, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." And that should sound familiar because in the New Testament, the people were shouting those words out to Jesus as he was making his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. The people were shouting out to Jesus because they were saying he is the Messiah. They were crying out to him for deliverance, for salvation. Also familiar surrounding verse 24 is verse 22. Psalms 118:22 says, "The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone." This should also sound familiar because it's quoted in the New Testament 5 different times, all in reference to Jesus. 3 times by Jesus himself, once in the book of Acts, once in the book of First Peter, all referring to Jesus, that he is the cornerstone that was rejected by the builders. And this really speaks to ultimately Jesus' rejection by his people as the Messiah, and what ultimately led to his crucifixion. And his crucifixion is the way that he accomplished and brought salvation to all people. So when we think about Psalms 118:24 and every day being a gift from God and rejoicing and being glad in every day, that's certainly a good truth that we can reflect on. But when you consider the context, what ultimately every single day we need to rejoice in is that Jesus is the one that has saved us. We can rejoice, we can be glad in the gift of every day that God gives us because of Jesus, because of the salvation and the deliverance from our sin that Jesus accomplished for us on the cross, because of his resurrection, because he is a risen Lord. So every single day, I'd encourage you when your head pops off the pillow, think about Psalms 118:24. Say, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I'm going to rejoice in this day and I'm going to be glad in it." And the main reason I'm going to do that is because Jesus is my Savior, because Jesus has died for me, because Jesus is risen, because he brings life and hope and joy into each and every day, and also hope for the future. That no matter what happens, I have the promise of eternity with him. So I hope that's an encouragement to you, and God bless.